Yeah, yeah. Making her way to the mic. They start dimming the lights. You start feeling alright. From Birmingham, home of the Teddy Longs, and the room is stutters. More once you discover. For all of the lovers, Whitney Houston and Roman Reigns. For all of the lovers, and Mickey James and Marvin Gaye. For all of the lovers, and Sasha Banks, Janelle Monáe, Silk, Sonic, and Paige. Allow me to say, look, I just found a place, sweet escape for every one of us. I was kinda late, cause I just made it off the struggle bus. Walking by the fate, cause I know it's right in front of us. Yo, I ain't with the hate, gotta focus on what's great. Ladies and gentlemen, Steph Hardy is on the air. Had to drop a couple bars just to make you all aware. So, sit back, relax, enjoy the show. You know I go by Joe or the rest of the flow, yeah.
Hey y'all, welcome to a new episode of HWP Xtra. Of course, I'm your girl Stephanie Hardy, host and creator of the Hardy Wrestling Podcast, HWP Xtra, as well as co-host for Steph and Cat Talk. Wow. Contributing writer for Daily DDT and color commentator featured on the Belladonna Division, Battle Club Pro, Black Girl Magic 2022, and Spartan Wrestling, and soon to be Black Girls Wrestle. I am so happy to be before you on this Monday evening, the 1 year anniversary of the Montgomery Brawl, Run Up, Get Done Up, Black Alabama Forever. I am so happy to be on here to talk about everything that happened this weekend at SummerSlam. Oh my God. For those who are watching live, thank you so much for watching live. And of course, for those who will watch this later or listen to this later once it's available on audio, thank you so much for supporting the vibe and for supporting the show and supporting me in all of my wrestling endeavors. I'm just so shell shocked at what has transpired over the past couple of days and hours and stuff. Cleveland really looked like it was a whole vibe. Congratulations to all of my media friends and um colleagues who were able to attend the event and do press for the event. I wish I could have gone, but seeing as the trip would have been 3 weeks after I got back from Canada, it was just a bit much. So I just decided to sit this one out, but I will be back. So as long as there is breath in my body, I will use my voice for good in this wrestling community. And I'm just so glad to see others do the same. So yeah, oh my God, this weekend was crazy. So that's why I had to come on here and do a SummerSlam post show to just decompress and just let go of all of my feelings for everything that happened this weekend at the biggest event of the summer in Cleveland, Ohio. Oh my God. If you are watching live, please, light up the chat and let me know everything of how you felt about SummerSlam as a whole and we're going to talk about every match and every moment that took place. So for anything that you hear, I hope that it resonates with you and you just talk about it in the comments and we'll just share all of our feelings, right? That's what HWP is all about. It's a safe space for wrestling fans to share their feelings. So, let me just say, as a whole, I enjoyed the entire event. The entire pay-per-view definitely gets a 9 out of 10 for me because it was just really it flowed amazingly and the rewatch value of it is really high. Like I'm more than sure that in the next few years you can go back and watch this pay-per-view / PLE and be like, wow, yeah, I remember when that happened, or I remember when that happened, or that's crazy. And of course, it fits into the rest of the story that we will see starting on tonight on Monday Night Raw. So the rewatch value of it is incredibly high. I enjoyed the way that each story, popped up and all the drama of it all. Like it was just a really well done cohesive and just all around entertaining pay-per-view if you're into the storyline components of it. And the action in ring for each match was also really good as well. So I'm definitely giving SummerSlam 2024 a 9 out of 10, but there were some things that I do have to address that happened that I do want to talk about, or at least the lack thereof that I do want to talk about, that took away the fact that it wouldn't be a 10 out of 10 for me. Now, of course, this took place in the Cleveland Browns Stadium, like I mentioned in the prediction show, which was full of orange seats and everything. And there were definitely tributes throughout the night to the Cleveland Browns. Even Vic Joseph went to the event and he was dressed up in his Cleveland Browns suit because, of course, he's from Cleveland. So everybody was definitely feeling the vibes up there. It's a really cool city. So big ups to everyone who got to go and experience, what Cleveland had to offer. It looked really cool in that stadium though. Like it looked really amazing visually. So it was great. The setup was amazing for SummerSlam as well. It was definitely giving like rock concert because the lights and all of the tapestry and everything was made to sort of look like speakers. So I did kind of like that vibe of it, that rock and roll vibe of it, since it is in the city where the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is at. So that was really cool. Now, I do have to be honest and talk about the reason why SummerSlam only gets a 9 out of 10 for me. Now, a lot of people felt like, that this was perfect and that and that this card could have rivaled a WrestleMania. And CM Punk even said the same thing during his ESPN First Take interview, that he felt like this card could have rivaled a WrestleMania card. And I would definitely I would have agreed with it had it not been for the idea that there were so many black talent that were missing on this card. There were, of course, multiple people of color on the card who came out victorious or not. Um, at SummerSlam that had high profile matches like Nia Jax and like Solo Sikoa and the entire bloodline and Damian Priest and Dominic and all of the above. Now Dominic, of course, he didn't have a match, but he was, of course, a key participant in Liv versus Rhea. So there were, and then of course you have Cody Rhodes, who is half Cuban. So we did have people of color participating in SummerSlam, even with Aja Smith as the referee, and as Samantha Irvin was, of course, the ring announcer for the entire night. She did an excellent job like she always does. But the thing that irritated me in this card was the fact that there was no active black talent on there. Jade and Bianca, of course, had their women's tag team match on the SmackDown before. And Naomi was not there, and of course Carmelo had a match on SmackDown as well, but there was just no black talent on there, and I just thought that was a really weird oversight and just really insane that this is sort of like the second or maybe third biggest event of the year and there was no full on representation of any athletes. I thought that was just really odd. That was just, like how does that happen? Because when you compare WrestleMania this year in Philadelphia to SummerSlam, WrestleMania had multiple black people on the card between the Pride with the Street Profits, B-Fab and Bobby Lashley, and the Big Three, and of course so many different artists, rap artists and all of the above who were attending the event and even participating in the event, like Snoop Dogg. Black representation was throughout that whole weekend and even just throughout WrestleMania itself. So the idea that we've gotten to August and this is 2024, given the times that we are in, for no black talent to be on this pay-per-view, but yet you have them doing media and doing interviews and also doing meet and greets, was just kind of awkward for me. Like, why have, like, what could have been done to rectify the situation? And I understand that there are some matches that you have to have some content on your other shows like Raw and SmackDown and even NXT, but at the same time, for it to be this big of an event, and to have someone like Bianca Belair, who has had moment after moment at SummerSlam, only for her to not be on the card this year, was just really awkward and just really like weird for me. And it was very disappointing because when it comes to representation, it is very important, and it's very important for every person of color. Don't get me wrong, I will never take away the representation of other marginalized people of color in this country. I will never, ever take that away. But when it comes to my community as a whole, we do so much in terms of driving the culture forward and pushing and speaking out for our issues and for all the ways in which we are treated in wrestling and wanting it to be better for us and better for the fandom and all of the above. So the idea of no black people being on the SummerSlam card was just a little bit too much for me. Um, I hated it. And I hope that down the road, that's something that can be changed. Even though I know the aesthetic of Cleveland was more so rock and roll and also a little bit of country, if you throw Jelly Roll in there, it's just the principle. I mean, Black people created rock and roll. Black people created country music. So why is it that we are not on this card? And you also had, flash appearances from Apollo Crews in a Manscaped ad with his tag team partner, Baron Corbin. And you also even had Big E, of course, on the panel for the pre-show and the post-show, giving his 5 count. And that's something that I do appreciate seeing, with Black people in these different spaces being intellectuals in these spaces. I absolutely appreciate and love that. But no, athleticism was just really kind of different for me. So hopefully that's something that can be changed and something that, you know, won't happen again, or an oversight that won't happen again. But it is kind of frustrating when you think about all of the progress that Black superstars in WWE and in wrestling as a whole have made. You have Athena, who is still very much the Ring of Honor women's world champion. You have Swerve, who is still the AEW world champion, and Bianca and Mercedes main eventing WrestleMania, and then you even had Carmelo and Trick main eventing Stand and Deliver this year during WrestleMania weekend, being the first time Black men ever main evented during that weekend. So I hope that we are not going backwards. That is my greatest hope, that Black people in WWE will still always be forward moving. We need to be forward moving, and we need to be given credible chances to win in matches. We need to be booked to look strong and not booked to look weak. And I just want better for us always, better for all people of color, but specifically better for Black wrestlers as a whole, always. So I just had to address that being the only reason why SummerSlam was a 9 out of 10 for me, because the -1 came from the lack of Black talent on the card. And that's just how I felt about things. And also big ups to R-Truth, because he did have that segment with The Miz and Jelly Roll, but I just had to address that part. So now, moving into the rest of the show, and talking about what I enjoyed from it the absolute most, we have to start with the girls, like I always do. And the athleticism that was on display throughout each and every match was fantastic. But I definitely want to give big ups to Bayley, because, of course, I always say on here that she is one of the 4 horsewomen and she should be treated as one of the greatest women's wrestlers at this point in time, and shouldn't be underrated and shouldn't be underappreciated as much as she is. She definitely showed up and showed out in her match versus Nia Jax for the women's championship. And even so much so to the point that she actually grabbed Nia Jax, lifted her up, and slammed her down off of the top rope. I could not believe this when it happened. I was absolutely gagged. I was like, this is probably one of the greatest moments I have ever seen. Like, I feel like this is up there with Bianca Belair lifting up Piper Niven that time and giving her a KOD. I could not believe that that she actually just lifted her up in that way. Like, as long as I've been watching Bayley wrestle, I had never seen Bayley execute a strong move in that way before, and that was just really impressive. I really loved, how much Nia Jax has improved in the ring, and just how good this match was. I appreciate that Bayley even kicked out of the first annihilator that Nia gave her. Like, I really appreciated that as well, because of course when it comes to keeping that title, she was really willing to just do whatever it took. Vaughn in the comments saying, say her name, she appears, I believe in Stephanie Hardy. Oh, thank you. And he also said, Bailey powerbombing Nia, greater, greater, greater than Hogan slamming Andre. Amen, sir. So yeah, this match was really fantastic, and I was absolutely gagged at the idea that maybe Tiffany Stratton could have cashed in on her if she wanted to. And I'm not even sure if Nia even paid it any attention in the moment. But when I was watching the match and I was just freaking out about everything that was going on, all of a sudden you hear, it's Tiffy time. And I was like, oh, wait. Like, I was freaking out. Like, oh my God, is she really about to do this? But then she gets knocked down by Bailey, and she stays down for the remainder of the match. And then the match continues to go forward. And Bailey, winds up taking 2 extra annihilators to finally lose the women's title to Nia. And her having this moment was fantastic. Not only just the fact that once upon a time, like, Nia was seen as one of the most um clumsy. A lot of people online would definitely give her a whole lot of crap for being clumsy or for being reckless in the ring and hurting people and stuff like that. And for everything that had happened to her, even with her getting released and her stating that maybe she wouldn't come back to wrestling, only for her to surprise the crap out of us last year, or maybe even this year. I can't even remember which Royal Rumble it was. I believe it was this year. For her to surprise the crap out of us, come back absolutely improved, having a life change in the fact that she did get baptized, shout out to her. And then, just her just being more locked in as a superstar and now being the women's champion after winning Queen of the Ring. It's just absolutely astounding in and of itself. And I'm just really proud of her, and I'm glad that she is having this moment, for herself, because at first it didn't look like she would ever come back, but now she is, and she's a champion, and she's also, was Queen of the Ring, and she has Tiffany Stratton as a princess. And she gave her that amazingly cute custom Money in the Bank briefcase that I will be purchasing at some point, because it is just the cutest thing I've ever seen. Like, it's just really cool, and the match was really great. I just loved everything about it, and I'm happy that Nia, was able to have this moment at this big event. And her gear just looked fantastic as well. It was definitely giving Ice Queen. I really loved the way that she looked. It was definitely giving that. I can't remember. I think the White Witch from The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe movie. That's really what it was giving. And I just really liked it. Like, the crown was beautiful. Her outfit to match it was beautiful. The diamonds were giving. And Naya's face card, just never declines. It never declines. So she looked astounding, and even Bailey looked astounding in her gear as well. Someone may have mentioned that it was, inspired by Macho Man Randy Savage, who was one of her favorites. But if you were to look at the bottom half of her gear, it looked like sort of like a mixture and tribute to how her gear used to look when she was Hugger Bailey, and her role model gimmick when she was just wearing like the tighter pants without the tassels on them. It looked like a beautiful combination of both of her personalities in wrestling, and I really liked the coloring of it and everything. So it was really cool. The way both of these women looked is great. I'm living for Bailey's purple and black hair because I just love color like that. So it was just really good, and I love this match. Vaughn in the chat saying Nia loves Jesus and is not afraid to let everybody know, period. I mean, because you're not supposed to. Bailey definitely had Macho Man vibes. Yeah, it was just really good. So yeah, big ups to both of these women for doing such an astounding job. And Bailey, I'm really excited. I'm happy that she was able to have this cool of a title reign, even though I know some people did sort of question the validity of it or how good it had been booked or whatever. But I am still proud of her. She will always be, one of my favorite four horsewomen, even though I love them all. Um, she was really great as a champion, and I enjoyed it. So, hey, it's okay. I'm really happy about it. So it's going to be cool. And now we got to get to this messy, messy, messy match. Not messy in terms of quality, but messy in terms of the drama. Ooh, wee! Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley for the women's world title. Now, when this match was going on, this of course opened up SummerSlam, and I was getting in the car on my way home from work when this was getting started, and when I looked down and saw that Liv was wearing like purple and black, that's when I knew that my prediction that I made on my predictions episode, go back and listen to it, was definitely gonna happen. Like I just knew it. I was just like, this feels like the fix is in, because for Liv to have gone on TV last Monday and was crying and burning all the stuff and tearing up the clubhouse and everything, she sure did come out here in this purple and black clothing like everything was good. And I was just like, okay, so this is what's happening. Fine. So both of these women looked really good, but I loved Rhea's gear because it was definitely different than what we've seen her wear before. It was definitely giving top bustier, bottom shorts with all the yams out. Rhea is really letting us know that she has so much confidence in the beauty of her body, and I just love it. And I just love seeing all of her tattoos on display. Like, she is a gorgeous girl. Like, I just can't even imagine the fact. I'm still mad at Liv for making it seem like guys don't go for girls like you, they go for girls like me. Excuse me, Rhea is a baddie. Don't do that. But match wise, this was really good, and it was very dramatic in the idea that Rhea was still fighting through, her shoulder injury. But the fact that she was so badass that she knocked her shoulder back into place when it was popped out of place on the commentary desk, that scared the mess out of me. I was just like, girl, what are you doing, you crazy warrior woman? But she did that and made it look amazing. She popped it back into place and she kept going. She was throwing Liv around. Liv was trying her best, to get the upper hand on her. It was funny because at the beginning of the match, Liv just kept trying to run from her. And I'm just like, girl, there's no running in a match. She's going to get you. And it was just really amazing. But there was one point where it looked like, when it really looked like Rhea was about to lose her opportunity at the title because she grabbed a chair and she was going to like beat the crap out of Liv with said chair. But then Dominic was like, no, don't do it. You can't win the title this way. So I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe this isn't going to happen the way I thought it was going to happen. Boy, was I wrong. He winds up taking the chair from her, runs around the ring with the chair. And when Liv is getting ready to like distract the referee and set up Rhea for the Oblivion, he slides the chair out there, hits Rhea with Oblivion, winds up retaining her title, and then Dominic starts smiling. And that's when I really knew that the fix was in. I was like, this is how we're doing it? Okay, this is how we're doing it. And lo and behold, as Liv was celebrating, keeping her title and everything, Dominic holds her up, helps her up on her feet, and grabs her face and kisses it. And I just feel disgusted even looking at it because, girl, oh my God, why? Why? And what's so funny is Michael Cole was saying, was this a ruse the entire time? I honestly feel like this really was a ruse the entire time, because y'all saw those episodes of Raw when Dominic was coming from the back and then Liv was coming from the back too. Like, there was something fishy about all of that, in the coming months leading up to this moment. Like, it was just really like the writing was on the wall, and that eventually, like sooner rather than later, he really would have stabbed her in the back, and he knew what was going on. And then you also have Liv, giving him chicken nuggets, buying him a PS5, stretching him, and then calling him daddy, saying that you need someone to treat you like a man, and all this other stuff. I guess he was just a sucker for all of that, and he was just like, yep, I'm choosing Liv now. And it was just like, oh my God. And what's so hilarious is that Liv is doing all this for this little boy who at SummerSlam had to be in the center of a drama with his dad and the late Eddie Guerrero of saying, "Who's my dad?" and all this other stuff. This is the person that you've kissed. It's hilarious. And what's even worse about this situation is that not even just the fact that Rhea had to watch it, but just the idea that Dominic has never kissed Rhea actively on camera. It was always her whispering in his ear or her licking him or all of the above. He never once kissed Rhea on camera in the entire time they were on in a relationship on screen. But he open mouth kissed Liv. And yes, Vaughn, he flipped the fans off. Yeah, I saw that much too. He is definitely feeling himself and his toxic masculinity. It is just, oh, it's so bad. And yeah, you can argue from a storyline perspective that the Judgment Day actually did this first because they were torturing Liv, they tortured Dominic, and sort of, gave him this new personality because he decided to stab his dad in the back and all of the above. But you grew to love the Judgment Day and you grew to love the relationship between Dom and Rhea. But what's even crazier is even at the beginning of Dom and Rhea's relationship, Rhea was the one who had to pay for their Valentine's Day date. So I think from the jump, Dominic is a guy who likes to be taken care of by a woman. He likes to be taken care of by a woman, and he's not the kind of man that's going to step up on his own and be like, oh, well, let me pay for the date or let me do this or let me do that. And Rhea kind of played into that, because that was their relationship. But honestly, Dominic is the kind of guy who just wants to be fawned over. He wants to be treated like a man. But my thing is, you could treat somebody like a man, but not give so much to them because I feel like this might turn into a situation where he'll expect Liv to give of herself all the time, and then she'll get tired of it, and then maybe she'll dump him. I don't know. But either way, it's gonna be a mess and a half tonight on Monday Night Raw. But yeah, I felt so sorry for Rhea having to watch that because, oh my God, like nobody wants to be broken up in that way. Nobody wants to be broken up with in that way. So the idea that she had to go through that public of a heartbreak as well as losing her women's world title that she never lost was just really, really sad. So hopefully Rhea will get her revenge at some point and she'll take off both of their heads. But this was insane to look at. And then Liv put salt in the wound by saying, "Cry about it, bitch." And I was just like, girl, go away. Because you think you've won. And yeah, in the sense of a revenge tour, you have won, but you really haven't won because that's not a real man. Vaughn, he likes to get flued out. Exactly. He wants to get flown out and treat it like he's the girlfriend, but whatever. That was insane to look at. So now we're moving from the women and going on to the men. And let me just say, this was one of my favorite parts of the entire pay-per-view. CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre with Seth freaking Rollins as a special guest referee. Now, both of Seth Rollins' fashion choices on Monday Night Raw last week and also on SummerSlam this past Saturday were fantastic, okay? Like, Seth Rollins had a referee shirt, and just looking at it, you would think it's regular, but in the black stripes, it was lace in it and also like rhinestones, and it was just really cute. And I just enjoyed that. I was just like, that is just the most amazing shirt ever. I just thought it was amazing. And the pants, of course, were fantastic as well. Those are my type of pants where they're just kind of loose or just kind of like bell bottomy. So those were like my favorite. And then, of course, you had Drew McIntyre coming out in green and black. And when I first saw him, I was just like, he's definitely giving Team Green from House of the Dragon, even though they would go on to say that they were paying tribute to Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, and The Undertaker from SummerSlam 1997. I really did feel like Drew was giving Team Green from House of the Dragon. And I loved CM Punk's outfit. It definitely seemed like a very classic outfit for him to wear. And pink and black because Bret Hart is that dude. And if you're gonna pay tribute to somebody, pink and black is never a bad color scheme to go with when it comes to wrestling. So I really did enjoy this level of it. There was one person on Twitter who thought that maybe CM Punk was paying tribute to AJ Lee because she likes to also wear pink and black when she was wrestling and stuff. And um of that's not too far fetched, but yeah, a lot of people were definitely saying it was giving SummerSlam 97. So, yeah, I enjoyed this match so much because we got to see a healed CM Punk wrestle, number one. And we also got to see how much he still has it. Now, of course, if you watch him over on AEW, you saw a good bit of what he was still able to do over there. Um, for the most part. But then in seeing him, with all this anticipation because this feud has been so hot and so angry, you were just waiting to see, how CM Punk was going to hold up in this match because he's been injured, so many times at times that, you know, you were just thinking, okay, well, maybe he's too fragile. Maybe he should hang it up. Maybe he shouldn't wrestle anymore. But he definitely proved in this match that that is not the case. I am still the best in the world and I can still do this. And I am so happy that he was able to do that and get back to his old self. Now, mind you, he was kind of tired and stuff because, of course, it had been months since he had wrestled, but he was still out here kicking all kinds of butt. I even loved how the match even began with them just punching each other, just punching each other. To me, the way that they started this match was definitely giving euphoria. I hate the way that you walk, the way that you talk. I hate the way that you dress. I hate the way that you sneak this. If I catch fight, it's going to be direct. That's what it was giving. And I was so happy to see them fight each other. And it was a couple of moments where I really thought CM Punk could have won this match. There were a couple of moments where Drew McIntyre could have won the match. But there was just emotions getting the best of everybody. Seth Rollins was mad. Everything was just anger all around it. It was just crazy. Um and then you had Drew McIntyre being so dirty and ugly that he decided to pull out the bracelet knowing it was going to F with CM Punk's focus. And I was just like, look, put the bracelet up. I'm sick of it. Just put it up. Like, I wanted CM Punk to get his bracelet back at Money in the Bank when he was beating the crap out of Drew and almost choked him out with a cord and we almost witnessed a homicide. I wanted him to get his bracelet back then. So the fact that this is still playing a part, it's just really just, oh my God, just get it back from him, please. Because he's going to keep using it to keep making you angry. Get your bracelet back, Punk, please. But he used the bracelet to make him mad. And then Seth Rollins took the bracelet, to move it out of the way as a referee. But here again, CM Punk getting angry, thinking that Seth Rollins is trying to be funny, but he wasn't trying to be funny. It was just too much going on. And it wound up costing CM Punk the match and the win. And what's even sadder about the situation is that Drew kept the bracelet, still took the bracelet from him and kept using it and kept dangling it in his face even in the post show. And I'm just like, Drew, you ain't gonna stop until CM Punk decides to take a broom and ram it up your behind. Like, you just not gonna stop. And I hope that this continues to boil over into Bad Blood because that's really where the territory is headed. I know Bad Blood ain't till October, but baby, with the way that he keeps flaunting that bracelet in CM Punk's face and saying, I won the match, da 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 da, it's going to be some mess. And I cannot wait. And I hope that in some weird way that I hope they fight in a stipulation match at Bad Blood too. And I hope and pray that I'm there to see it because it's going to be funny and it's going to be like incredible to see how much further they're going to take it. So I just can't wait to see what's going to happen with this feud because Drew McIntyre really thought he ate with this win. Like, he really thought that he ate. Like, oh, I finally won and I finally got my revenge on you, which is so stupid because you were the one who started this mess with CM Punk in the first place. You started this mess with him in the first place. You injured him at the Royal Rumble. You were flaunting the world heavyweight title in his face, and he decided to get back at you because he got tired of you being ratchet. You started all of this, but you want to act like CM Punk you're the victim and he is the one that got in your face. No, baby, that's not how this works. So until CM Punk gets his pound of flesh, like he likes to say, I can't wait to see how much further they take this. And I hope it goes to Bad Blood. And if they have to fight in Hell in a Cell, then so be it. I'm ready. I'm ready, baby. Because I just, it's crazy. I wanted CM Punk to win this match so bad, but it's okay. It is okay. Because he still looked good and he still had a great performance. Like, he did a phenomenal job. And then, of course, this still sets forth Punk versus Rollins at some point. So I'm just real excited for what all of this is going to set in motion. I'm just excited. But this match was great. I liked it. Now, let's talk about this. I'm going to make the screen big so y'all can see my face when I'm talking about this. LA Knight winning the United States Championship blessed my soul in a deep way because something that was happening last year was the fact that once LA Knight, became a big star and he became an internet sensation, because I saw a lot of that happening on TikTok where everybody was turning him into a meme, turning him into, a viral sensation. And also people picking out all the places where they've seen him before in terms of wrestling work and in terms of Hollywood and stuff like that. It just really lets you know that this man has a work ethic beyond belief, and he knew that he had something special to offer the wrestling business. So seeing him win this title was such a huge blessing, because over the past few years, everybody kept saying, he's talented, he's great, he's over. How come he hasn't won this title? How come he hasn't, won the big title? How come he's never won Money in the Bank? Because he has been in 2 Money in the Bank matches over the past 2 years, one in London and one in Canada. And he was this close to winning, but yet didn't win. So everybody has been clamoring for this man to get his things. And on Saturday, he finally got it. He actually won the United States Championship from Logan the Butthole Paul. And I was so happy. And what makes me even happier about this is because LA Knight, when we did media at Money in the Bank, we had I was only able to ask him one question due to the time constraints. And before I was able to ask him my question, he saw my Alabama wrestling t-shirt that you can buy on foryourwear.com, and he saw that Paul Bearer was on my shirt. And I said, yeah, because Paul Bearer is from Alabama just like me. And he said that Paul Bearer was one of his managers in his wrestling career. That's how long this man has been trying to make this work. Because Paul Bearer's been gone a minute. Like, he's been gone a while. So rest in peace to him. But the idea that this man has gone all over, everywhere, to make a name for himself, and now he kept working and kept working and kept believing in himself until he made it happen, and now here he is. It's just a testament to, hard work and just knowing what your dream is and just going after it and being relentless about it. And he could have gave up when he was made to be, an Eminem model. No shade to them, because they're great, and I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that angle, but we knew him as LA Knight. Like, he could have gave up after that point, but he didn't. And he just kept going. And he could have gave up after everybody was talking trash about that match he had with Bray Wyatt at Royal Rumble last year, which is sadly, of course, the final match that we saw Bray Wyatt in. But he could have gave up after that, and he didn't. He kept going, and now he's a champion, and he deserves to be the United States champion, and he is a United States champion that I can get with and actively support because he's just so cool. He has charisma on the microphone. He makes you excited every time you see him and you hear his music. LA Knight is the man, and I am just so happy that he won the United States Championship. So big ups to him. Congratulations to him. Like, and I know shout out to Emily May. I know she's happy too because she actually got to witness it. So yeah, this was great. This made me happy. This match was actually really good. For the most part, LA Knight was pulling all kinds of amazing athletic stuff. Like he was doing such a good job. And even Logan Paul did too, but you know, being a butthole does not get you anywhere in this world. So, or at least it'll only get you so far. So he's not the champion anymore, and I'm happy. So, yeah. Or in this case, yeah. And then, of course, MGK was there, and this shocked the crap out of me because I was just like, why is MGK at SummerSlam in Cleveland? And at first, at one point, I thought he was from Cleveland, but I looked it up and he's actually from Texas. So I'm just like, oh, well, then why are you here? But I guess he was just friends with Logan Paul. And speaking of more of Logan Paul's friends, when I tell you Logan Paul came out there and his friends were sitting front row, I got super scared and I was just like, bruh, please don't tell me he's about to retain like this again. Like I was getting mad, frustrated when I saw them. But LA Knight turned it around and he won. So yes, we're good. We're good. We're good. And this match right here with Sami Zayn and Braun Breaker, this match went by relatively fast. And I don't know if it was a me thing or if it was just how I guess quick everything was going. But this match felt like it went fast. In comparison to a lot of other matches that Sami Zayn has had. And even in comparison to the first match they had in Money in the Bank, this match went by relatively fast because I guess Braun Breaker had a point to prove. Sami Zayn definitely gave it his all, and he did his absolute best to retain. But sadly, Braun Breaker was just really hungry and ready for his moment in the sun. And he got it. He got it. Even though he's destroyed people on his way to the top, he has definitely had his moment and he is now our intercontinental champion. Big ups to Sami Zayn for being the one to ultimately beat Gunther after 666 days. What a number. Um, but yeah, and he was a great champion and he had put forth killer matches with the likes of Chad Gable and so many others. But yeah, it's Braun Breaker's time. Like, it's really his time. And for someone who just got called up to the main roster officially this year, he has definitely made a huge splash on both shows, but most definitely on Raw. So he definitely deserves this. He actually celebrated with his dad and his uncle. Um, and he celebrated with Triple H. He was hugging him and crying and all of the above. So he definitely deserves this. The only thing that felt a little bit off to me was after he won, they had him on the post show, and he was actually, giving credit to Sami Zayn, for being a great champion and for being, an amazing wrestler, and giving him credit, saying that he didn't have to put him over, but he did. And I thought that was interesting for someone who was just talking about running through him on Monday Night Raw. But I guess that's just how he felt in the moment, and I won't blame him for that. But this was amazing to see. It's like it's really cool when you can see people, of a younger generation actually rising up to reach a certain point. And that's what this felt like right here. And throughout the whole night, it was like that. Because if you really think about it, look at these three people. Okay, it's like you have Braun Breaker on the left. In the middle, you have Solo Sikoa. And then, of course, on the right, you have Tiffany Stratton. All three of these people came through the NXT 2.0 system. And a lot of people had a lot of crap to say about NXT 2.0 because, of course, it was basically a revamp of the old black and gold NXT because they were trying to win with ratings on Wednesday nights before they moved over to Tuesday. And they changed a lot of the stuff around and it became more character based, even though the quality of the matches were still good. But when you really think about it, the 2.0 era really gave us some of the best stars that we have. And three members of that class that came in and became stars during the 2.0 era were tentpoles of the entire SummerSlam system. Like Braun Breaker is a two-time NXT champion and a one-time NXT tag team champion. Solo Sikoa, of course, was the street champ, and he was an NXT North American champion. And yeah, he was on NXT 2.0, and he was, talking a little bit more. But it's just the principle. And now you have Tiffany, who was an NXT Women's Champion, and now she's Miss Money in the Bank. So really, there was a winning system going on down there that I feel like a lot of people weren't thinking about in the moment because it just wasn't familiar to them, which goes to show you that sometimes you just can't give up on things just because they change. Yeah, it's not the same thing that it once was, but that doesn't mean that the quality isn't still there, and it doesn't mean that there isn't something special that's there just because it changed. You have to grow with things, and that's exactly you know, how I felt in keeping watching NXT 2.0 because I was never going to stop watching NXT. Just like I always watch wrestling, like I'm never going to stop watching wrestling. So I'm glad I never gave up on it because if I did, I would not have known these three people as superstars. And it's just crazy because Braun is now an IC champion and Solo actually main evented a SummerSlam. And I saw a stat from someone who said that Solo is the first person to be born in the 90s to main event a SummerSlam. That's crazy. Because I was born in the 90s. That's insane. He is the first man, the first wrestler born in the 90s to main event a SummerSlam, a Big Four pay-per-view, PLE. That is the stuff of legend right there. So big ups to all three of these people doing amazing things after, coming up during a time in wrestling that was a little bit tenuous, but they still did the work and look at them. Now, if we could just get Carmelo Hayes on the same level, then we'll be good. So moving on. So with this match, Damian Priest versus Gunther. The thing that I appreciated about this match was the fact that Damian Priest further proved why he deserved to be World Heavyweight Champion. And it also paints a different picture for me because today I did watch the WWE 24 documentary on him, and found out more about him and his life and how he came up as a fighter. His dad was actually a martial artist. But I'm not going to tell all the parts of it because I don't want to spoil the documentary for y'all. But still, like, he is a very adaptable fighter. And the way that he was able to adapt to somebody like Gunther, who is just really strong and just a great wrestler when it comes to the grappling and the European strong style, was absolutely impressive. Like, Damian Priest impressed throughout this whole match. And y'all know, because Gunther likes to make examples of people by slapping them in the chest or chopping them in the chest, Damian decided, nah, you ain't gonna make me bleed first. I'm gonna make you bleed. And he popped Gunther in the chest so hard, like super hard, and he was bleeding. And he couldn't even believe he was bleeding until he looked up at the screen and saw his chest. He was like, oh my God, I'm bleeding. And that's when the match just hit a new level after that. And it was just really crazy. So I love this match very much. It was really good. But the drama, here again, the drama turned up. Look, Finn came out there after what happened between them backstage because, of course, Damian is upset that his sister, Rhea Ripley, got dumped by Dominic. So he's storming back there trying to find Dominic and beat him up, right? But then he gets into it with Finn, and then he apologizes to Finn later. But then Finn is like, okay, if you need me to come out there to be your moral support for the match, just let me know. And so Damian said, sure, that's fine. And they fist bumped, but then everything looked fine. But as it turns out, it wasn't fine. because, like I predicted on the prediction show, Finn messed Damian up. Finn Balor messed Damian up, distracted him, and actually put Gunther's foot on the bottom rope. And Damian didn't even know it until he looked up at the screen and saw the replay. And he was furious. And at one point, when it looked like he almost got choked out by Gunther, he got up, beat Gunther off him, and then grabbed Finn and tried to choke him out in the process. It was so funny, but yo, my God, like I couldn't deal with it. It was just the funniest thing I had ever seen. But Finn really did turn on Damien. So, with all of this drama happening in the Judgment Day, we now have the Judgment Day 3.0, I can imagine. And Finn, I'm pretty sure, is now going to be the leader. Finn gonna be the leader. Liv gonna be the new Rhea. Dominic is gonna be in it. And then, of course, you got JD and you got Carlito there too. So, honey, it's a mess and a half. And this was so heartbreaking. But in the midst of the heartbreak, we have a new world heavyweight champion, and it is Gunther after winning King of the Ring. And he definitely deserves it because he is somebody who worked his butt off, to get to this point. And it was just really great to see that because he's just been a dominant IC champion. He was a dominant NXT UK champion. And now he gets to put more prestige on this world heavyweight title because I'm pretty sure he's going to hold this forever. He might hold this until next year's WrestleMania, to be honest. And it would be really cool if that happens. And then it was good. It was also really cool to see him celebrate with his wife, Jenny, who also used to be an NXT UK wrestler herself. So that was really amazing. Congratulations to Gunther. And I'm more than sure Imperium is going to reign supreme once Ludwig Kaiser comes back. He's going to be, I demand all your gratitude. And he's going to make it crazy. So, yeah, this was amazing. I appreciated this match. Now, moving into the main event, Cody Rhodes versus Solo Sikoa for the undisputed WWE Championship in a Bloodline Rules match. Now, I loved the way that this entrance was done, even though the entrance scared me a bit. Because when they showed that camera in Cody Rhodes' bust and he had on that jacket, like for those who may or may not have saw like what was on the front of the jacket, it said WWE QB, which could have stood for quarterback. And on the back, it had the different logos for the different shows, Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. And of course, he made his entrance with his dog, Pharaoh, who is just the most beautiful dog on the planet. And this road trip to Cleveland would be his final road trip because Pharaoh is getting up there in age, even though he's doing fine, he's healthy. It can be a lot for a dog, that's getting older to tour like that. So he's going to be at home a little bit more with Brandy and Liberty, the baby. So, well, not the baby, but because she's like big now, but still the girl, the child. I'm sorry. But it was really interesting to see how, to watch him, walk towards Gorilla with him. And then on the way there, he runs into Arn Anderson, WWE Hall of Famer, and Mr. Guy with the Glock. And he gave him a hug and told him how proud he is of him. And he said, look, you've got friends in high places and they're on the way to help you in this match. And this was just really nice to see. It's always good to see the legends utilized in a way that they're putting over the youth as opposed to looking like, bitter people who are just like, it wasn't like that back in my day and all that other stuff. Like, no, like, yeah, we understand that it wasn't the way that this right now isn't the way that it was for you, but help me. Don't down talk me. And this was just very healthy and really nice to see. So big ups to Arn Anderson and Cody Rhodes for having this moment. And then we saw, of course, him have his gear put on, his jacket put on, and he got a hug. And then the guy who makes masks and helmets, I believe, who also did a lot of the creative work for Bray Wyatt, gave him his skull mask and he went out there. And that was one of the most beautifully produced entrances I've ever seen. I liked that a whole lot. It was really beautiful. It was tastefully done. But that whole entrance scared me because I literally felt like, wait, is Cody about to lose? I was like, is Cody Rhodes about to lose this title to Solo? Because if they're doing all this and it feels all this emotion, and if he's about to lose, I'm going to cry. Like I won't be able to handle it. But of course, we move on. And the match was fantastic. Something that I enjoyed the most about the performance of Solo Sikoa here is the fact that he had a lot of Cody Rhodes' moves scouted. Like you can tell that he had been watching tape on him, and I appreciated that because for somebody here again who is relatively young in the wrestling business in comparison to Cody, who of course um has tenure on him, but of course they still both come from wrestling families. It was still interesting to see that dynamic play out, and Solo really did do his homework, and I appreciated seeing that throughout the match where he would stop his crossroads, or he would block that eye poke thing that he would do when he that slap that he would do when he falls on the ground. Like stuff like that I just really appreciate from a wrestling and storytelling aspect of it. But baby, Cody had more help than he thought he did. Because along with his friends Kevin Owens and Randy Orton coming out to beat up the Bargaintown bloodline in the form of Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa and Jacob Fatu, he had a returning Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns came back. And at first, I didn't know what was happening because the music came on, but it sounded, I guess because I only heard that version of Roman's theme song once, I just wasn't sure who it was going to be at first. For a moment, I was hoping it was going to be Ricky Starks because because I would just love it if Ricky Starks popped up on WWE because he just hasn't been on AEW lately, and it's just kind of like it's not giving. So if Ricky Starks actually came and helped his friend, that would have been lit. But oh my god, Roman Reigns popped up, and I just couldn't deal with it. I was like, "Excuse me, Roman, you're here." And he looked good when he came out. And as you saw on the screen, he had the t-shirt and everything that said OTC, which I guess could only stand for Original Tribal Chief or One True Chief or whatever. But he looked really good, and he Superman punched Solo, because at first it could have looked like he was going to attack Cody because Cody was the last man he fought before he lost the title at WrestleMania. But nope, he went after Solo. Cody took advantage and hit a crossroads and retained the title. So this is where we're at, ladies and gentlemen. It's crazy. I just cannot believe that this is where we're at. Freaking Roman Reigns is back in WWE to take his rightful place as the tribal chief. Oh my god. Solo was angry. He was screaming, saying, "You're no!" He was just like, "No! You can't be the tribal chief! It's done! You're done!" And all that other stuff. Cody celebrating and everything. Like, it was just like, it was lit. I just could not believe any of what was happening at that point. Oh my god, that was amazing. It was absolutely amazing to see Roman Reigns back into the swing of things, because of course we hadn't seen him since WrestleMania. And I know I was one of those people. I got to speak up and be real about myself. I was one of those people who wanted Roman to lose that title for so long, and I wanted Cody to get his things because he got screwed out of the title at WrestleMania in LA, and I was mad about it, and I stormed out and all the things. But I'm not gonna lie, since we've been watching wrestling over the past few weeks, and Solo has just been out here acting a donkey, I can't even begin to tell you how great of a change it was to finally see Roman again and just see him take his rightful place again. It was just so thrilling. It was really thrilling, and I'm just so happy that this is where we are. So, with that being said, that's pretty much the end of the HWP Extra SummerSlam post show. I can't wait to see um what else is in store for us, because of course Raw is coming on in another hour. So I'm just really excited to see what's about to happen with all of these stories and to see how all of it is going to coalesce, because in the next few weeks we do have Bash in Berlin. And then of course after that is September, so they have other stuff happening with that too. I'm not sure what pay-per-view is going to be then, but then in October you have Bad Blood in Atlanta. So I'm just really excited to see what's going to happen here. But I just wanted to come on here and share my thoughts. Thank you guys so much for watching live, and thank you for holding out with me, because I was having tech issues. And I also hope to continue to do more consistent episodic content for HWP as we continue to roll along this year in wrestling. And I just hope to continue to grow. Now, of course, if you haven't already, please follow your girl on Instagram and Twitter at Queen Steph Hardy. I'm now verified on Twitter, so I have a blue check mark. So it's Queen Steph Hardy over there. And you can follow the Hardy Wrestling Podcast on Instagram at Hardy Wrestling Podcast, and on X/Twitter at Hardy Wrestle Pod. That's HARDYWRESTLEPOD. And of course, continue to read my wrestling works on Daily DDT as I continue to grow in my writing career. And of course, just continue to check me out as I get ready to commentate for Black Girls Wrestle in Florida next month. I'm really excited about that. And just continue to support your girl in these wrestling streets, because I'm just out here trying to make a difference and live my purpose. And just be happy about it and be a light in wrestling. And I hope that you continue to listen to and follow the Hardy Wrestling Podcast. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's the Hardy Wrestling Podcast with the logo you see in the corner. And just like all the videos, share all the clips that you see me sharing, and also continue to watch Steph and Kat Talk Wow. We will be doing a new episode this week, so be on the lookout for that announcement, and just continue to support the vibe. There's a little bit of construction happening on my end, because I am trying to, possibly change some things, make it more vibrant and stuff. So, if you see the changes, just support that, because the show will still be a safe place for wrestling fans to come and, share and listen to this cozy little space that we have called HWP. So, of course, until next time, this has been HWP Extra, brought to you by the Hardy Wrestling Podcast with your girl, Stephanie Hardy. I want to say hey to Randy, because he did just pop in. Hey, Randy. Please listen to the show or watch it afterward, because I know you're coming in at the end, but it's okay. Thank you for popping in anyway. And until next time, bye, y'all.